Alright, welcome back to Seapower in the State. Simulation Canada, published in 1982, Stephen Newberg. Soon to be republished by Compass Games, looking forward to it. Disclaimer here, this is actually the Compass Game preview graphics. They're very similar to the original game, the counters and map. So I incorporated them in my Vassal module because they look so much better than the 1982 graphics. But I'm not affiliated with the playtesting or the new version at this point, so no promise the counters in the final Compass game will, well, I'm sure they'll look similar. The values may be tweaked, we don't know. But just as practice here to go through the rules, last video we are focusing just on the Mediterranean, US 6th Fleet, and the Russians, I forgot the name of their fleet there, and we had the initial Soviet attack. We just assumed the war started kind of bolt from the blue, everybody from their starting positions. And the big combat was, of course, down here, where we had a Nimitz-class carrier and a US CV battle group. So what the Soviets did, a number of things, they sortied the Black Sea Fleet, then were able to put a decoy here. They had to get at least 4 units to move here to then allow a heavy cruiser through. I think it was this one. And the Soviets were all about building up their A-range surface-to-surface missile capability and also their Minsk class. So that enabled them to generate enough A factors to get in that first shot, because this is truly fearsome, this carrier with 50A. So fearsome that it blew away all of these bombers. F-14s with Phoenix missiles took down all of the attacking bombers coming in. That were pre-staged on these bases here along the northern coast, North Africa here. So learning lessons here. When taking on a carrier, there's just not enough EW. They've got strong defense, but it's going to be real tough to get them through, which feels accurate. But then we had the initial exchange at 200 nautical mile A range. And because the Soviets had succeeded in concentrating so many A-range units here for surface, including even a fast attack submarine, they generated a large enough attack factor once we added it all together. And the die roll against not as strong as it could have been EW value, which also represents point defense, I'm guessing, that they were able to take out the carrier. And then they continued in, and once the carrier was gone, C range here, that's not going to be enough. As soon as these units entered B range, they were able to take out these units. Of course, Soviets did lose their Minsk-class carrier and a cruiser. So, taken by itself, now the Soviets did come on the better end of the exchange, but their navy isn't that big, and they don't have a lot of carriers. But they did take out the U.S. carrier battle group in the Eastern Med. But the Black Sea Fleet also was mauled just coming in here to decoy, because these units, along with the base that's present, a W2, did some serious damage to them. The other place combat occurred or attempted was these units here attempted to localize a U.S. ballistic missile submarine. They failed. They couldn't locate it. If they had, they would have sunk it, and that would have been 5 victory points. This doesn't give victory points. So, they got the carrier battle group. Now it's time for the Western Allied response. And we'll see how much is left of them when it's done. So if we follow the track here, and I'm skipping the whole mine operations. Actually, they could lay mines here. Possibly, I'd have to look if they're allowed on a base. That's something. And then we're skipping the satellite. When we do the Pacific in the next video, we'll start bringing all of this into play. But I'm going to cut to the chase here and say it's the Western Allied portion. And it's time for them to move. And now it's time to avenge, especially since we've got a base here to help us. we want to avenge what happened here. So we've got a conventionally powered carrier battle group over here. They're in a base, there's no logistical concern, and they are going to move 6, 6, and 5. They can move 1, 2, 3, and these units, there's only 2, are decoyed or screened or whatever you want to call it by these 2 units, so the carrier battle group can move through 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they're ready to take them on, but they're going to also stack the deck. There is a serious fast attack here. 7 EW and 12A missiles, so we want to definitely take care of him. So now we're going to take this guy and move him. Well, let's leave him here for now. This guy's going to move. We have another fast boat here. So we want to build up our ASW capability. So he's got a movement of 6. He can go 1, 2, 3, decoy, 4. So he will move here too. But he moved fast transit, so his EW value goes down by 2. But then this guy's going to join him here. Okay. And we've got the base here to help us out. So we're going to try and take out what's left of this Soviet group here. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is this ballistic missile submarine is going to move under the cover of this. Well, get out of here. This is not a good place to be, especially with a base here, and move over here. And it also gets the advantage of being in the range of a Western base. Now, looking at the rest of, there are some assets here for Western allies here. This is formidable. They've got a cruiser, a helicopter carrier, and it looks like a diesel boat, and an eastern base. So the question is, what do we want to do? Do we want to bring them in? Now, we've got the French. They've got a carrier battle group and a helicopter carrier. The Italians have a pair of helicopter carriers. So I'm thinking we don't want to risk our aircraft here because of this base. They've got a 10 AW, so we're gonna go for it. We're gonna bring the Italian fleet down here, and they're gonna try and take on these units here. That guy's safe. And then we've got the French here, and right now I don't have this screened. I'd have to slip another unit in here to screen this. Let's send the Spanish. 1, 2, 3. They'll go here. So that's our Spanish destroyer group. So now the French. The question is, what do we do with the French? These are both submarines. No, a submarine and a destroyer. So, but it's a Western base, which is a good thing. So the most they have is 3 air power. And we have these aircraft, just the French have these, and the Italians have these. So I'm tempted to just do air power here. And the question is, do we want to bring the French fleet into the combat down here? And then these units, or maybe at least, well, let's look at what we got here. That CV-13B is pretty good. Everything else is C and D range. So potentially bringing that carrier, the de Gaulle or whatever it is, into the combat here may be good. 1, 2, 3. And then maybe put the helicopter carrier. Let's see what this destroyer's range is. That's a D range. We can take them out. So let's put the helicopter carrier here. And let's put our French carrier joins the US. And if we look at these, 1, 2, 3, we do have a, oh, that's a French ballistic missile. That's not going anywhere. But we do have this cruiser, 2. I may want to send him here. And let's see, we've got a frigate with an ASW of 4. So let's put him 1, 2, 3 here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to send so much air power there it doesn't matter. Let's put him there. Let's build up our EW value. That's what we're after here. To resist point defense here. We'll put the helicopter carrier. Now the question is, maybe I should have put the helicopter carrier here. That's 12. That's 10. let's do that. Let's move him here. This guy will just stay in port. Safe place for a boomer. So now we've committed them all. And now we commit air power. And here's the question, where do we want to commit them? So each of these 2 and a 3, 2 and a 3, they look pretty identical. Actually, they are identical. They all have 5 for ASW if you can get them in range. So let's see what we got here. Now I'd be a little concerned about here because of that base. That gives them a 10 and a 5 and a 6. 21. Nope. I'm not going to send our air power there. The Italians are going to pile on here. The only thing that's going to shoot at them is the destroyer, which hopefully we can get rid of. Well, the destroyer's got a D range, and it's going to shoot each time, so it's 3 plus 6. So they could, wow, they could you got to be careful with air power here. That's what I'm learning. Let me click the moved marker out of the way here. It's this marker we want. There we go. So here's the problem. They've got it. Well, I've got enough of them though. Here I've got game tables. Somebody made this. This is on BGG. So if we look at air attack, we sum up their AA, and their AA here is 3, and we maybe get a 9, and we sum up EW, which in this case, well, if we do enough, 2, 4, 6, we can eradicate it. So let's just put them all here. And this one, it's because we don't want to mess with the base. So we got 3 helicopter carriers. And we got a B range surface ship and a C range. And the Soviet ships are C range, including the sub. So we'll get some shots in at the B range. So now we have 3 combats here that we have to resolve. So let's go ahead and set that up. Alright, so we are set up for the attack here, the revenge attack against what's left of the Soviet battle group that took out the US carrier battle group in their first attack. So the first thing we have to do, just looking at sequence of play, we've done movement, assigned aircraft, and we're at surface ship localization. So let's come here, and we've got some localization, and sum of the EW of the phasing player plus 1d6. Wow, there's a lot here. Got 6, well this is 4, but 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 21, 23, 26, plus 10. 36 plus 1d6, which hopefully I can find my die roller here. Seems to have disappeared. Let me pause here for a second. Alright, let's roll the die, see what we get. 2, and I forgot the number I added up. Well, I think it was 36. So they got 38 minus the highest EW value. Well, even if we use the ballistic missile, I mean the submarine here. But this is surface, so it doesn't even if we did, that's 31. And all of these, 7, 4 is 11, 11, 4 is 15. They are all localized. So, well, at least the surface ships are. This is separate. I apologize. That's separate. So both surface ships are localized. So the next step we do is we do a combat range, and they both get a shot. They're going to get all of it here, but let's pull up the game chart here and see how we do A. So yeah, there's no aircraft, so if we're doing AS, sum of the phasing AS plus 1d6, sum of the non-phasing EW plus 1d6. So if you look at here, the only A range unit is the carrier air group, 42. And I rolled a 2 again, so they got 44 minus, and in this case it would be 8, because this doesn't provide, this is a submarine. So 44 minus 8 is 36, 9 and 23 is 31. So the first strike of the carrier air group will take out these 2. They're gone. Okay. Now they're going to fire back though, and they've got 29, 39. That's substantial. 39, but there's a lot of EW here that we can throw in. So it's 39 plus 1d6, 40. But again, these don't count for this. But this is a bunch of surface-to-surface missiles. So we got 40, so we've got 2 and 3 is 5, 8, 11, 13, 14, 15, 25. So that's 15. So if we look here, oh, they just barely didn't take out the French carrier. Well, that's good news from the French, but a lot of their stuff took out, and let's look at what would be our prime units. 15. Well, any of them are good, so let's go for the big units. Can't get both cruisers. So let's take out this one. And then we have 7 left. And let's see, with 7 left, we can take out, yeah, I think we can take out these two, this and this. So, the initial Soviet missile strike takes out these units, but the Kirov is gone. And now we move to this range. And the French carrier air group now comes in range, but again, here's the problem, it's the submarine. They're going to just have to take the submarine's fire all the way in. Hopefully this will help too. So the submarine can generate 12, so it'll fire again, and it's up to 14, but they've got 2 and 3 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 18. So they've got enough point defense that they take it out. And then we keep moving in. And again, it's 12 plus 2. Man, this thing is stuck on 2. 14, but we have 2 and 3 is 5, 6, 7, 18. Okay, counting probably aircraft coming off of there. Also assisting in shooting the missile. So now they're going to move into D range. And let's roll again. That's even worse. So they are now all in range here. And now it's a matter of, can we localize the submarine? All right. So looking at this here, 18 minutes, wow. Let's look at localization. And I think submarine localization is slightly different. Let's take a look at this here. I think they've even got modifiers here. Sound batteries. Nuclear submarine in a shelf. I didn't catch that last time, so that's good. That's a -1. Bases add. Okay. So, anything that has an ASW value, which all of these units do, all right? So they're all hunting this one submarine. 16, 21, 31, 36. Oh, I'm adding the wrong numbers. It's the ASW. Okay. Some localization is the sum of the EW phasing plus a modifier. So they got to have a combat value there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this is why we brought these along. 15, 21. So they have 21, and maybe there's some ASW assets here. Takes it to 31, 36, minus 7. We've got it. I mean, there's no question. This has been localized. All right, so now they attempt to do their attack here. And for this combat, sum of the phasing attacking, 1d6, non-phasing EW. Well, that's not going to be enough here, but let's see. 16, 21, 31, 36, 36, 45, 53. I don't have to roll. 53 minus 7 is way over. So this group does sink the fast attack. So Revenge has been struck. Now the losses, though, we lost some cruisers, a destroyer, and a frigate to that initial surface-to-surface salvo, but these units have pretty much been destroyed. And now we can put these guys back. And yeah, the submarines did come in handy. And the French came in handy too. So, and these units go to eliminated units. I gotta catch them all. Oh, I hit delete. I wonder if I can do an undo. Yeah, I can. Thank you. So yeah, these all go to the destroyed. And destroyed. Boom. Okay. And I'll keep this base handy. So let's try our next attack. This is going to be an interesting one. All is air power first. And the defenders are a sub and a surface unit, which I wouldn't hold my breath on they're going to live here, but let's see what happens. Okay. So first we do air-to-air combat. Oh, and there's a western base too here, which does land some support here. So let me pull up a western base too. That could be kind of scary. So let's do the air-to-air combat. They've only got here basically three. Three for air-to-air. So let's see what the game charts tell us. Well, wait a minute. We got to do the surface localization first. And they're going to find it. I'm not even going to roll for it. Sum of EW to 1d6. I mean, we got like 16, and then 17, 18, and then 3 is 21, but this is the kicker, 41. And it's just this unit by itself, so we localize it. So then we allow this unit to do its air combat, 2. And if we look at sum of the phasing, AA, 1d6, sum of the non-phasing, EW. And that's going to take it out there. So this has got a 3, 7. I mean, that's respectable, but each of these is 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. We're not going to be localized. Okay. It's overkill there. All right. So, first we've got the attack at A range. Nobody can do that, so they're going to go here. And again, everybody here is D range and D range here, D range here. So really nothing's going to happen. And we're doing surface combat now until we get to D range. All right. And it's basically the only thing this can really take a shot at is this guy, so that's probably what they're going to do. But let's calculate here for these attacking units, and they all got 4D, so they do have an anti-surface weapon. And we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32, 36, 39, minus 2 is 37. Boom, this guy's sunk. Now they've got 5 and 4 coming back. That's 9 plus a d6, 10. And the only EW that adds is here is 8, so this Spanish destroyer is sunk. Maybe shouldn't have assigned him. Okay. So now we do, and then this guy was destroyed when we got in D range. Now we do sub-localization here. And again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 16, 19. 19 plus a d6 gives us 23 minus 5. Let's see what that is. Minus 7. 23 minus 7 is 16, which you have down to 8. I forgot to do that last time, but I think it's okay. So you have that down to 8, which is greater than the EW, so they do localize this. And now they're going to do their warfare. And these guys are going to go head to head, but these we're going to see 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. That's 43. I don't even really need to roll. 43 minus 5, and let's watch this, sum of non-phasing EW. So we got 43 minus 7 is overkill. Yes, this is maybe a bit unrealistic, but this guy's going to be sunk. And then this guy will get a shot here. He's got 3 ASW, and he's going to roll a d6. That's 7. Okay, 7 minus 3 is 4. It looks like this guy's sunk. 4 is greater than the 2 here, so they did lose something, and they lost something here. So, the remaining left behind units of the Black Sea Fleet are destroyed, but there's nobody here. Whoa, these 2 units were destroyed. The ballistic missile sub went head to head. I mean, the diesel subs went head to head, and they were gone, but the air power pretty much squashed it, and that'll all go back now. Okay. And these are now destroyed units. Let's see what we got here. And we'll send these. Destroyed. And then these are destroyed. Alright, now we have the last combat, so it looks like the Soviet Med fleet didn't last long. Even the Black Sea fleet that came up. Now this may be an interesting one. There's an E3 in here too. And we've got C range, and then we got D range. We got a B range. Okay. And they actually have a E3, so let me get that. So they have this here too. Alright, and there's no air power, mainly because we were concerned about that 10 there. So, following the procedure here, we start at the A range and we swap shots. And looking at everybody, there is no A range unit, so we move to B range. And now, this Italian helicopter carrier can take a shot. Oh, wait a minute, I messed up again. I keep doing this. I got to roll for localization, and let's do that right this time. This guy we're not rolling for. These 2 we are. So we got 2, 5, 7, 11. 11, and we've got to roll 1d6. Get my game charts back here. So, roll 1d6, 11, and 2 is 13. And the highest EW of these are 3. I wonder if the base applies here, so let me check that. Yeah, it looks like the base EW applies, so this is going to be tougher. 5, 6, 7, and I think I rolled a 2. 2, 5, 7, 11. Plus 2 is 13, but minus 10, they can't localize. If I read that right. That's the highest unit EW for jamming, and it's a lot tougher to localize. So, like their attempt at trying to localize a ballistic missile submarine, they can't, because of the cover provided by the base. For some reason, they can't localize here. So, alright, I've been looking at the rules. It looks like bases only add if you're trying to localize the enemy and they're on your base X. They don't do in defending. So, following this example, localization, the procedure is totally EW values, phasing units in the hex, adding in benefits of RSATs, CBAT sonars, roll 1d6. And then use the highest EW value of the non-phasing player. Again, the requirement is I'm trying to localize a surface ship, I have to have a surface combat value. So all of these, it would be 2, 3 is 5, 6, 7, 11, 13. And then it would be, this is a 3, and that's, so it'll be down to 10. And then I'd roll a d6. It'll be down to 4. And then I half it to 2. But that 2 is the number of units localized. And boom, they just barely localized both of these. Okay. So I think I did that right this time. So you add the EW of the people trying to localize. If they happen to have a base, they can add that EW value, but otherwise the base doesn't necessarily play a part. So again, like we said, it was 3 and 6 is 9, 9 and 5 is 14, 14 and 7 is 21, plus 2 is 23, goes down to 20, and then they rolled a 6. Well, if I did it right, yeah, 2, 5, 7, 11, that's 11. And they rolled a 2, it's 13, my bad, 13, which takes it down to 10. And then they rolled a 6, which takes it down to 4. And you divide by 2, dropping fractions, which takes it down to 2. And 2 units are localized, so fair game. Off we go. So we do the combat, and we move now into the B range of the helicopter carrier. So it will be able to take its shot at the Soviets. And the way we do that is they've got an 8 plus, that's a nice roll, that's 13. 13, and then they've got 6 plus 10, so there's 3 damage. No, it didn't work. This could get ugly. Okay. So that wasn't enough. That was not enough. Some of the non-phasing EW, that's 6, 10, 13 minus 10 is 3, and these have a defense. These are strong units. This may not go off well for the Western Allies. Maybe, I mean, they could pull back now and say, skip it. But 15. We're going to move into C range. We're going to have 12. And they're going to have 15. And they've got 15 and we got 12. And our EW values, though, total EW values in the hex, because they're all providing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That may be what helps us. So let's see what happens here at C range. May not want to do this. So we swap combat, so I'll do the Western Allies first. We're at C range now, so he can join in. 4 and 8 is 12, and we roll 1d6. 17. 17 minus, again, 6 takes us down to 17 minus 6 takes us down to 11, but down 5 takes us down to 6. And again, a fail. A fail. Not promising. Now these units shoot back. They've got 15, 19. 19, and it's from 5, 6, 7, and 4 is 11. So that takes it down to 8, and that takes it down to 5. They're going to take out this helicopter carrier. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Mainly because these have awesome defense values here. So just for the example, let's take it further. Now there is a rule, once you move within D range, that's within visual sight, and I think all surface values are doubled. Yep, there's a rule. It says, visual targeting 10.34, all units and bases participating in combat at D range have their AS value doubled. Oops. I think this base, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to resolve that. I don't think the base D range, well, let's see what this looks like at least coming this way. 4, 8, 16 times 2 is 32. 32 36 down 6 is 30. 29. That's it. Both these are gone. But let's see what damage these do. That's 30. Let's just take 30 for example. 36. 2 and 3 is 5. 9. 36 minus 9 is, well, it's 25. And they're all dead. Wow. So what does this teach you? They got the Soviets, but they sacrificed themselves to do it. And the submarine is there because nobody's left to fight against it. So I didn't mark the battle hex, but I think it was right here. So, ouch. I think we're at the end of the turn. We did learn these combats are bloody. This is only the first turn. And nobody's got any victory points, to be honest. There's no shipping lanes here. So here we are at the end, and what's left? A diesel boat and a light cruiser. That's all left for them, but the Western Allies at least have still got all their nuke boats, their boomer. They lost a carrier battle group. They've lost some cruisers and destroyers, but they have effectively eliminated the Soviet presence in the Mediterranean, which is probably realistic. Probably. I'll do a little research on there. But again, Soviet fleet was basically sacrificed to get a carrier battle group. Was it worth it? And they almost had a shot at a ballistic missile submarine, which would have gotten 5 victory points. But in the end now, this guy's not going to last long. Well, he could escape now, because he can go through the base and then get into the Black Sea. And then they could put units here to kind of bottle them up. But effectively now, the Western Med has been cleared of the Eastern or Soviet menace. And we've gone through the combats now. We've learned some stuff about bringing in bombers against a carrier. You're going to have to bring in a lot of them to overcome the effect of the carrier air group. And I know I made some mistakes. I think I'm starting to get it down. The only question I have right now is, if for the defender, what role does a base play? In our case, should we have added the 4, really the 8? I mean, it didn't really matter in that last combat, but for the defender, what role does a base play? Can they use the EW value of the base in response to attacks, or is it just the ship? And we did see once we closed the D range, that's a new thing, surface combat becomes very deadly too. So ships are disappearing fast. So the Med's kind of a sideshow, but what we really got to look at is, next we'll do the Pacific and the shipping routes that come into play in victory points. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks for listening. If you like, click like. Any comments, please do. And if you want to know when the next one is, please subscribe. Thanks for listening.